Well, hey, y'all, my name is Josh, and I just wanted to give a preface because this was brought to my attention in between services. It's been raining a lot, like Ryan said, and we had some people getting rained on last service. So if you have to get up and slide over and move somewhere else, I won't be offended. If you're just bored and want to leave, that's okay too. Just so you know, we have a little bit of leakage in our roof. But anyway, if you have seen me and my family in the lobby, you know that this is what we look like. Our life right now is these three boys, my wife Des and I. This is Kelly. He's 3 years old, and his best friend George. And then you got Theo, who's almost 2, will be 2 in a couple of months, and Franklin, who is 5 months old. And our life is full, it's fun. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Right now, Theo is coming down in the middle of the night pretty regularly. He wears a sleep sack, so he's like in a wingsuit. It's really funny. He walks in like 2 a.m. in the morning, and I hear something when I wake up, and he's rummaging through my nightstand. I'm like, what are you doing? Go back to bed. So that's a normal occasion. Kelly, right now, we're just finishing up potty training, and he's kind of on the back end, just nailing it down. It's fun, but sometimes there's messes. Kids, it's great. And then Franklin. Well, Franklin's perfect. I have no complaints about this guy. He is awesome. He sleeps through the night. It's amazing. And what we hear all the time, because we have 3 kids under 3, the most common phrase that we hear is, "You know how that works, don't you?" You guys laughed more in the first service. I probably appreciate that. This other thing that we hear more than others is, "Don't blink. It'll go fast. You're going to miss this someday." And it's from people who have been on this side of the aisle before, and they look at us and say, "You have young kids. You're going to miss it. Don't blink. It's going to go fast. Take advantage of this." And really, when we hear that, when we as a young couple hears that, or maybe you as young people that are here today hear that, you are hearing that from someone who maybe missed out. That they experienced the miss out, that maybe you experienced something that you went through and you wish you would have said something differently, or you wish something differently would have happened, or you would have made a different decision. And because you missed out, or because someone missed out, they are telling you then, well, don't blink, don't miss it. You want to take advantage of this. This season will be gone at some point soon in the future. Your kids are going to grow up. You're going to move away. You're going to have a different job, whatever it is. Don't miss out. And you might also hear from that person giving advice, you have your whole life ahead of you. All your decisions, all your stuff, your whole life is ahead of you. And this is from the perspective of the people giving the advice. I am oftentimes on the receiving end because we're kind of just getting started with family and figuring out what we're going to do with the rest of our life. But I think we can turn this around to make it apply to everyone. Instead of you have your whole life ahead of you, for all of us, we have the rest of our life ahead of us. High schoolers, I know you guys typically sit over here. You have so much of your life ahead of you. You have so many years ahead of you. Don't miss it. Don't miss what's to come, the decisions to come. If you're a 30-year-old, or if you're 35 and 40, if you have a young family, if you don't have a young family, you have the rest of your life ahead of you. If you're 50, if you're 60, if you're 70, if you're 80, you still have the rest of your life ahead of you. And we don't know how much time we have left, but we want to make sure the time that we do have, we do it well, we do it right. You have the opportunity to get it right. And that's what this series is all about. It's looking at the rest of the time that we have and making sure we don't miss it. Making sure we don't have regrets, making sure that our decisions lead down the path that we want it to, not the path that we stumble upon and then ultimately regret and miss the things that we want life to look like. This series, the subtitle is 3 Things You Can't Afford to Miss and How to Ensure You Don't. The next 3 weeks, we're going to talk about the 3 areas that you don't want to miss. But this morning, we're just talking about how to ensure you don't. How to ensure you don't miss it. How to ensure down the road you don't look back and say, gosh, there's a regret, there's a regret, there's a regret, and I missed that. And I missed that. And if you're in a boat today where that's discouraging, or you feel like my life is full of misses, I just want you to hang on. Because what I said is true. The rest of our life is in front of it. And I would hate for you to feel like your life is defined by what's happened, not what could happen or what is happening. Most of our misses, most of our regrets in life, because all of us do face regrets and misses in our life, lots of them, funny enough, are inconsequential. Lots of the misses in our life, lots of the things that we go through life and we miss, and it's like, oh, well, it's not a big deal. Like you pull up to a stoplight and you miss the green light. You got to wait an extra minute. Okay, it's not a big deal. You just move right on. Maybe it is you miss a workout. You miss going to the gym today. You can go tomorrow. You can go to the next week. Maybe for you missed a job. You had a job opportunity and you're too slow to get your resume in, and you're like, oh, I missed out. But ultimately, it doesn't change too much in your life. Maybe you miss a week of church. And now, hear me say 1 week, not like a month or 2 months or 3 months. You miss 1 week at church. It's important to be here, but you missing 1 week is not the biggest deal in the world. You'll be fine if you show back up next week and re-engage. Lots of the things that we miss are inconsequential. They don't matter. We often will just land on, well, maybe next time. I didn't get it this time. I missed the green light. I missed my workout. I missed church this week. Maybe next time. We'll get it next time. But on the other side of an inconsequential miss is a consequential miss. And a consequential miss is something that you can't get back. A season comes and a season goes. You open the book and once this chapter is finished, you can't reopen it. You can't go back, and that's where regret is born. That's where regret is, well, I can't do something, and it does cost me something in my life. And we've seen this play out in other people's lives. We've seen them start in on a miss, start in on a regret, and it's consequential. And we just want them, we want them to stop. All they had to do was fill in the blank, but they didn't. All they had to do was stop talking to that person. All they had to do was say no. All they had to do was this thing with their finances. All they had to do was save a little money. All they had to do was get a different job. All they had to do was blank. It's so evident for us that we see it in our friends and our family. We'll see that in the people that are closest to us. And lots of times, people will see that in us. And they'll try to tell us, they'll raise a red flag and be like, hey, pay attention to this. Maybe it's not the best idea. Your friends might circle up. Your parents might circle up. Your other family, people at work might circle up and say, hey, I don't know if this is a great idea. I don't know if this is good for you. But lots of times we fall into the same trap again and again and again where those consequential things, they're just hard to shake. And I don't want us to get stuck in losing the rest of our life because we've leaned into those things that have consequences, that are consequential, that start stealing life from us. And because we all have misses and all have regrets, big or small, somewhere in the middle, there's often commonality between those things that we miss. And maybe you found yourself here before. I feel like most people do at one point or another because we know deep down, like we kind of know what we're doing to sabotage our life or steal something from our life. We get to the end of it and we have this post-thought, post-action clarity. I'll never do that again, we say. I engaged in this, I'll never do it again. I did this, I'll never do it again. We started this, I'll never do it again. And we declare the bad decision that we made in our life. And that starts the trajectory of like, oh, we think it's getting better just by declaring it. But acknowledging a miss, acknowledging a sin, acknowledging a mistake, acknowledging something bad in our life, a bad decision, does not future-proof our future decisions. Our future decisions are not just suddenly made better because we declared it. And I think if you're a Christian in the room, if you follow Jesus, this can oftentimes be a holdup that I don't want anyone to get stuck on. We, as Jesus followers, declare ourselves as sinners because we made a mistake. We make sinful decisions. We make bad decisions. And yes, we are sinners. We do make mistakes. But just acknowledging that doesn't take us anywhere. It doesn't prevent us from continuing to do that in the future. It's what we do next that matters, and I think lots of times we can use I'm just a sinner as an excuse to not actually move in the direction of Jesus. The same is with every decision that we make. Acknowledging it does not future-proof our decisions. And when we do miss, when we do make a mistake, when we do follow up the declaration with another miss, something odd also happens. And I don't know how to explain this phenomenon because most likely we all fall into this, is that there's a balance between our good things and bad things. There's a balance between how much we are actually willing to change, that we learn from our mistakes in the areas that matter the least. It doesn't really make any sense, the things that don't matter. And we repeat our mistakes in the areas that matter the most. For example, the things that matter the least, things like playing a game, things like a hobby, things like ordering a dish at a restaurant that you didn't like, going back and not ordering it again because you know you didn't like it. You're not going to go back and order it. It doesn't matter, but you make the change and you learn from it. I was trying to come up with some clever examples of how this sometimes plays out, so hear me out on a few of these. Putting potatoes in the oven. You're baking potatoes. If you pull them out too early, and you've never done this before, you take a bite into that potato, whether you pick it up because you're a psycho or you cut it up. You take a bite, and it tastes like, or it feels like an apple instead of potato. You know it's not done yet. You're never going to do that again. You're going to leave it in for the next 20 to 30 minutes to actually properly do it. You learn from that mistake. This one made me laugh as I was thinking of it, so just indulge me for a second. I'm thinking of a Kohl's, so specifically a Kohl's. You're in the store, and you're walking out of the store, and you're in the dark store, and when you walk out, you get hit by the sun, and you feel a sneeze coming on. And you're in the parking lot, and you're like, okay, the courteous thing to do, that you do everywhere else, is you put your arm up and you sneeze in your arm up, but then your sleeve's covered in snot. That's not fun. So you learn from that one time. The next time you do it, your parking lot is the destination. Your parking lot is the target. For then on, you sneeze into the parking lot because I don't want to have to wipe off my arm. We learn from silly things like that. I bought a car a few years ago when we lived in Georgia. It was a 2006 Honda Accord, and the engine light came on. And I took it into the mechanic. I said, hey, what's going on? They ran the diagnostic. They found out that the computer system that reads the emissions was bad. It wasn't reading right. So he's like, you got to get that fixed. You got to pass your emissions test because we live in a highly populated area. It has to pass. I said, okay, how much is it going to cost me? He said, $2,000. And I said, big gulp. And I said, okay, we'll just do it. Give him the money, got my car back a couple days later. And for the next 2 years, I drove this car and never once had to get an emissions check. I was so frustrated, and it wasn't his fault. He did a good job, and he was really trusted amongst the community that we lived in. I just didn't ask questions, and maybe it was because I neglected going to get my emissions test, but I felt like I spent $2,000 for nothing. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the next time I go to the garage, the next time I go to get my car maintenance, I'm going to ask more questions, and I'm just going to seek out some more clarity because we learn from the things. Sure, it's some money, but it's not that consequential. We'll live. It's not a big deal. We learn from the things that matter the least. But then you flip the script, and when something matters the most, it's really, really hard for us to give that up. It's really, really hard for us to learn from the mistakes that really will change and impact our life, that will steal from our life. In those areas, we tend to make excuses. We tend to come up with these arguments in our head that we think, oh, yes, of course, that will justify my actions. That'll justify this. And our excuses are terrible. They don't make any sense. If someone else made an excuse that you made for the things that matter most to do something that you want to do, we would laugh at them. We would say, no, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you ever choose to do that? Because we know, we can see it in other people, but we make excuses in the areas that matter most. We make the most excuses. We make excuses like, oh, well, it's just one night. I can sleep over and I can handle that because I'm strong-willed. We make excuses and say things like, well, it's at work, and I won't take it home with me. It'll stay there, and it won't affect the rest of my life. We make excuses like, I'm going to double down on this bet because I've already lost some money, but I can get it all back, and it'll hit this time, even if it puts our family in financial risk. Yeah, it'll be fine. Or is it secret? It is secret. And I know it's secret. So if it's secret, well, then it's not that big of a deal because no one else knows about it. And I'll keep it inside, and that's fine. I'll just continue doing it because no one else knows about it. And it's not a big deal. It won't steal from my life. We make excuses in the areas that matter the most, but those tend to erode our lives. And we start to lose things that actually matter. I think in addition to the excuses that we make when it comes to the things that we miss out on, the reason we miss out is because itself, we don't want to miss out. We don't want to be alone. We don't want to miss out on the opportunity. It's why you said yes. It's why you accepted the invitation. It's why you agreed to the thing, because you were seeking out something that you thought was going to be good for you and happy, and it would make your life happy. But let's be honest, and if you followed me and you followed someone else around, if we were to be honest, we are not on a truth quest in our life. Sure, we like the truth. Sure, we like bringing about the truth. We're on a happiness quest. If you were to follow me around, you would say, oh, well, Josh likes the truth. Josh likes bringing up some things that are true. He likes following the truth. But ultimately, so many of my decisions would be what I want and what I think makes me happy. I'd be seeking out the people I want to talk to, not the people I don't want to talk to. I'd be seeking out the next comfortable chair or comfortable couch because that's where I want to plop down and spend the most of my day. I want to be there because it is happy for me, not necessarily what's true and what's best. And what happens is when we operate under the mindset of we don't want to miss out, oftentimes our striving to be happy undermines our own happiness because we get lost in the shuffle. We don't really know what's best for us, and we'll start to make excuses, and it'll all come back, and it starts to take away the things that matter most. And then we end up with misses. We end up with regrets. So the rest of this morning, what I want to do is I want us to avoid that. I want us to avoid the misses. I want us to avoid the regrets and put things in place, put boundaries in place to be able to keep us on track. We're going to get super practical and just talk about three things that we miss out when we are blank and how to avoid these three things. The first one is deceived. The second one is distracted. The third one is disobedient. Deceived means that we are misled. It means we're misled by someone, a group of people, or even an idea. And there's this path that we choose to follow because we believe that, well, what they're offering will make us happy. But at the end, we wonder, how did we end up here? Why am I in trouble? Well, it's because we were misled, and I allowed myself to be misled. At the core of it, the responsibility falls on myself because I allowed that to happen. And this is the baseline of any cult that's ever existed. You have a charismatic leader, you have a group of people, you have an idea, and they're inviting other people into this ideology, and it's for the purpose of, this will make your life better. This is like good. This is something that will enhance your life. And we allow ourselves to buy, or people allow themselves to buy into something that doesn't really have any evidence, but there's a promise on the other end of it that it'll make us happy. And it starts to erode because we believe that that's going to make us happy, and then it undermines our actual happiness. We have the potential, more than anyone else, to deceive ourselves. We can be our own greatest enemies. And Jeremiah knew this. Jeremiah in the Old Testament, he's a prophet. He was speaking to the nation of Judah. And Judah was a sect of God's chosen people. And they, at this point, had been making decisions that were going every way except for towards God. They were following the heart of man. They were following other nations. They were getting lost in the shuffle. And Jeremiah is writing to him, and he starts out this statement by saying, no man should have faith in other man, because man lets people down. Other men who are leading us will let us down. He says this, then he turns it inward. He says this, he says, the heart is deceitful above all things. He first starts out by saying man, external, but then he says, check out the heart. Check out your heart. It's deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? The nation of Judah, you're going every which way because you're following your heart's desires. You're following where you want to go. You're following where the distractions are coming. You're following what's immediate. You're following all these different places, and you are off course. And then he gives this encouraging note that should encourage us all. He says, and it's beyond cure. There's nothing really you can do to help it. Your heart, it is how it is. It's deceitful, and as much as you try, it will lead you astray, and you will deceive yourself if you let it. If you seek after happiness, in yourself and let that run wild, you will miss it. You will have regret. Now, I want to make this super personal for all of us, because this is really important. And if you've been zoning out, if you've been thinking about other stuff, if you're online and you were doing other stuff, just give me like a minute and a half. This could save your marriage. It could save your reputation. It could save everything that you actually want in life. It's really good to talk about regrets and mistakes that we've made in the past to process through to get to the other side of them. It's really good to talk about decisions that we will make in the future. But right now, are you working on convincing yourself of an idea? An idea that what you want to do is what you ought to do, and that's what's good for you? In your life, are you working on something in your mind that you're trying to convince yourself? Let me replace convince with deceive yourself. To justify a behavior because you want to do it and that you ought to do it, that it's good for you? If you are, you need to stop, because you're undermining your life. Because a good idea never has to be sold. It will sell itself. We always have to justify. We always have to convince ourselves that a bad idea is a good idea. A good idea never has to. If you are doing this, if you're convincing yourself, if you're making an argument, you are putting a regret in the oven. And when it comes out, it'll be burnt. And it'll burn you. And you're going to want to put it back, but you can't put it back. If you're convincing yourself right now of something that you should do or want to be doing, but you know you shouldn't do, stop. Tell someone about it. Bring it up. Throw it out. Let it go. You will thank yourself down the road. The Apostle Paul gives us a note, and I think it would be good for all of us to commit this to memory. It's not hard if you're not a memorization person. It's not hard. It's short. It's simple, but I think it lands with us. He says, do not be deceived. Do not be deceived. In your life, you will have the chance to deceive yourself. You will have the chance to buy into the deception of other people. Do not be deceived. When we are deceived, when we are misled, we will miss out. And you don't want that. The people that love you don't want that. So stop. Let it go. Stop being deceived. Seek after what is good and what is true for your life. The first one was deceived. The second one is distracted. Don't be distracted or you will miss out. Distractions come in every shape and size. It comes in all different forms. We know there's a million of distractions in our lives that come and they go. They steal our attention. They steal where we actually want to go in our lives, especially if you're young. We need to set and define the values that we want for our life and run after them. Stay the course. Don't compromise the values. Don't compromise where we want to be. And it ultimately leads us to commit to the ultimate over the immediate. Immediate is, whatever I'm feeling in this moment, I'm going to get distracted and I'm going to go left. Or I'm going to go right, and I'm going to go after whatever I'm feeling is right, what is good, what is right in front of me. And there's a million different things that are pulling for our attentions, but what is ultimate is keeping the end in mind. It's what's keeping what's most important in mind. When we think about what's ultimate, we define what could be and what should be for our lives. What could be and should be for our relationships. What do we want our relationships to look like? For Des and I, my wife, we've been married 6 years. And early on, we decided that we are going to be in community. We're going to be in small groups through the church that we attend, at the few different places that we've been, because I know in my life, if I don't intentionally invest in structure community, I will let it go. I will forget about it. I'll neglect it. I will tend to lean into my own thoughts. I'll isolate. I'll be by myself. We have to be in community because it keeps me accountable. And we just decided, even when it's not that fun, we're going to do this on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis, men's, women's, or couples group together. We also decided early on in marriage that it was really important. We're going to go on regular dates. We're not going to neglect this. Every 2 weeks or so, we try to go on a date, and it's not perfect. We don't always get it right, but we do it because we know the longer time that we don't spend together one-on-one, we start drifting away from each other. We're not on the same page, and life becomes harder. And then sometimes we even have dates when we don't like each other. It's really difficult. It's really difficult to say, okay, I'm gonna sit across the coffee table from you at the coffee shop, and we're gonna sit there for 2 hours, and we're gonna talk when we've just gotten over a fight, or we're in the middle of a fight. But we know it's good for us, even though it's hard. We've determined what we want our relationships to look like, and we're not compromising on that. We're not leaving that. We're not drifting off. We're not getting distracted. So what could be and should be for your finances? Where do you want your money to go? What do you want your money to say about you? What kind of person you are? Professionally, it's what could be and should be professionally. What goals do you want professionally? Where are you working to be at? What do you want your job to be like for you, for your family? What do you want it to say about you? For your spirituality, like today you showed up to church. That's hard. That's not easy. There are 10 different things you could be doing with your Sunday morning. You could hang out, sleep in. You could go out to lunch. You could go to a sporting event. You could do whatever you want. But you chose to get up, to get ready, to come to church. Because I think you believe that it's good for you, even though it's hard. And oftentimes that's the pattern that we see. Distraction is easy. It's immediate. It's where we go on a whim. But ultimate is hard, but it's always worth it. So I wanted to give you a quick prayer. Whether you're someone who prays or not, maybe you don't know how to pray, this is just a simple guideline. You could say this 10 times a day if you wanted to. You could say, God, give us the wisdom to know what's right and the courage to do what's right, even when it's hard. Give us wisdom, give us courage to do what's right, to do what's good, to do what's worth it. Because I don't want to undermine my life. I don't want to just wake up and say, how did we get here? Give me the courage. Pray this often. I don't think you'll regret that. I know in my life I'm paying attention, especially in this last week, to how much I get distracted. How much, primarily, I get distracted by my phone. And I know that this is not just a me thing. I know that this is a distraction for a lot of us because there is an endless amount of content that you can look through, that you can watch, that you can read on, games you could play, all of the different things on your phone. And it's not all bad. But when my boys come up to me and I'm on my phone and there's a tension inside of me, the gravitational pull is to say, do what's easy. Keep just distracting yourself. Keep being on your phone and do whatever you want, and tell them to go play. That's easy. But there's a clear and evident right thing to do. It's to put my phone away. It's to engage with them. It's to get rid of the distraction for what matters most. There is this function on your phone, I don't know if you know this, on your screen time within your settings, you can actually map out how much time you're spending on your phone every single day and what apps are using the most time. If you've never done that, just take a look at it. Take a look and see how much time you spend on your phone and ask, is this a distraction for me? Now, I've traditionally in the past led students to do this because students are like on their phones all the time. Some would tell me like, I'm on my phone 8 to 10 hours a day. And I'm like, we gotta really rein this back. But we also know it's not too dissimilar for us as adults. It's a habit. It's a distraction that if we lean into, it will start stealing from our lives. And it's not just this turns into an addiction, a habit. Any addiction focuses on the immediate over the ultimate. It turns to, what can I do now to satisfy me now, even if it costs me everything in the long run? We want to run away from those. We don't want to erode our lives. We don't want to have misses and regrets. So what do you want? Did you wake up? Did you wake up in this, or did you choose this? The life that you're living right now, full of distractions, did you choose to be in this life? Did you choose to be where you are right now, or did you just wake up in it and say, wow, okay, I don't know how I got here. Regardless of where this is, something might need to change. We might need to eliminate the distraction. We have to define what we want, what you really want. Set that as the course and don't waver. Because I don't want you to miss it, and I don't think you want to miss it either. The last thing, the third thing, deceived, distracted, and disobedient. And by disobedient, I mean disobedient to God. Your Father in heaven who created you, Jesus who died for you and loves you unconditionally, that they want something for your life, that God wants something for your life, that He wants something for my life. And when we choose to go away from that, we will always miss it. It's guaranteed. Just the other day, my wife was cooking food on the stove, and Kelly, our oldest, is standing on a stool right beside her, and he's getting closer, and it's a classic parenting situation. Don't touch the stove, it's hot, it'll burn you. She tells him, if you touch this, your finger's gonna fall off. And he says, this is how the story goes, he says, oh, well, I better scoot back then, and just like kind of slides over to the right. She knows, we know what is best for our kids. We want to protect them. We want them to embrace what is good for them, and we will do everything that's possible to do that for them because we love them. How much more does your Father in heaven want that for you? The one who created you, the one who loves you unconditionally, that He has put parameters, put guardrails in your life to bring you back to Him. To be obedient. We don't always like that word, but to be obedient. Because disobedience usually leads to misses and regrets. And this is foundational to what we believe as Christians, as Jesus followers, that sin is present in this world. And we wrestle with it. And it would be really nice. It'd be really nice for us to just have this long list of sins in the encyclopedia and be like, okay, alphabetically, A, B, C, these are all the sins that I can point out. This is what I did. This is what I did. Oh, good, I didn't do that one. Well, it would be really nice to have a clear picture of what sin is. But do you know how Jesus defines sin? You know why God is anti-sin? Because He loves you and He cares for you. And Jesus defines sin as anything that hurts me, anything that hurts you, anything that hurts him, anything that hurts her. If it is hurtful, if it causes pain in this life, it's sin. And the consequences are often evident. Every time there is sin in this world, the consequences follow, and there is pain as a result. And you've seen this in someone else's life. Maybe you've seen this in your life as well, is that sin has the potential to put your best life out of reach. When we're disobedient, we might lose access to what we want most in life. And that's not saying that you're not redeemable. It's not saying that you're not able to be saved because of something that you did. That's not true. Jesus loves all of us and it has the ability to redeem every single one of us, no matter what we've done. But because of a miss and a regret, a choice that you've made in the past, an act of disobedience, you might not be able to have that relationship with them for the rest of your time. You might not be able to recover and fill the hole that's in your heart because you had to say goodbye. You might not be able to achieve the best life that you would envision for your life because of sin and disobedience. And it might be harsh. That might sound like, oh, that doesn't feel hopeful, but if it brings us back to the love that God offers us, it's worth talking about. It's worth bringing up in our hearts. And for those of us that feel like we still have our best life possible ahead of us, don't miss it. Pay attention to how you're being disobedient. Pay attention to where Jesus is leading you and trying to protect you and trying to help you. Because sin always separates. Sin always hurts. Sin always causes more consequences in our life. Adrian Rogers, a famous pastor who passed away about 20 years ago, said this about sin in one of his messages. He said, sin will take you farther than you wanted to go. It'll keep you longer than you wanted to stay. And it'll cost you more than you're willing to pay. It'll take you farther than you wanted to go. Oh, I didn't think we'd do that, I thought it was just going to be one night. I didn't think it would become an issue. I thought it was going to stop right there, and I didn't imagine that we would do that or they would do that or I would do that, but it did. It'll keep you longer than you want to go or longer than you want to be. I thought I would just drop it in college. When I got to be an adult, it wouldn't be a problem anymore, but then you turn 30, and you turn 50, and you still haven't dropped it. Because sin leeches onto us and sucks the life out of us. And it takes the hope away from us. It costs you more than you're willing to pay. We're really bad at risk assessment. We're really bad at looking at the upfront cost of a decision and saying, this is what it's going to cost me. So when we step into something that's disobedient, we think, oh, it's not going to bother. It's not going to bother me. It's not going to ruin anything. It's not going to steal anything from me. But then that sin slowly erodes the walls of your life. It slowly steals from you. And if we're not careful, if we're deceived, if we end up being distracted, if we're disobedient, it will steal the good things that we want for our lives, the things that last. And I don't want that for you. And you don't want that for you. You don't want that for the person next to you. So can I ask you, are you living in sin? Are you living in this? Are you embracing it? Are you just taking it and saying, yeah, this is what it is? Jesus, who loves you, would look at you and say, no, you're not just supposed to keep doing this. You don't just say, yeah, rock on, let's keep going. We're going to do more sin. He says, no, I want you to stop. He says, go now and leave your life of sin. He's approaching this woman in the gospel. He's approaching her as she is caught in adultery, in the act of it. She is mid-act. There is sin, and it is known to everybody. She approaches Jesus, and Jesus, through some words, sends off the people who are trying to kill her, and he looks at her and says, you have sinned, you've been forgiven, but go and sin no more. He looks at us, and he says, go and sin no more. Because I don't want you to miss it. I don't want you to have regret. I want you to live the life that you know is best for you, that you desire. So go and sin no more. Leave those regrets behind. Drop it and go towards the path, the values that you have set, the values that I have set in front of you. So to wrap up today, are you willing to acknowledge the deception? The way that you're being deceived, the way that you're deceiving yourself? Are you willing to throw off distractions? To acknowledge what's stealing from you, where you're going left and right, and going away from what matters most? And are you willing to leave your sin behind? Because it's robbing you of what you actually want. I don't want you to miss it. You don't want you to miss it. So let's not miss it together. Let's get rid of the bad stuff and start pointing our direction to the things that actually matter. And I don't want you to miss the next couple weeks, because we're going to talk about a couple of key factors in our lives that we just can't afford to miss. And it's really important for all of us to wrap our minds around. So come back next week. Before that, I'd love to pray for all of us. Heavenly Father, we're grateful for you. We're grateful for the way that you have set a path before us. We are grateful for the way that you invite us to follow you, that you want to protect us and love us in the midst of our sin, in the midst of the regrets that we have. God, you want to redeem us. God, allow us to trust you enough to do what's hard, to give ourselves to you. Because we know that you want what's best for us. It's in your name we pray. Amen.